descending like crazy. I saw a crypt ahead of me and decided to hide from the ghost in it. But then, my heel suddenly broke off, and I fell. Hi, I'm Caroline. I was the black sheep in my family. I had always liked everything dark and mysterious. Meanwhile, it was like a rainbow had puked on my sister, Violetta. It didn't surprise me that we were so different. After all, I was adopted. I spent the first 5 years of my life in an orphanage, and even then, I was different from the other children. For example, I loved talking to spiders and was not afraid of the dark. When I was adopted, I tried to befriend Violetta. She looked like a porcelain doll in a pretty dress, but it turned out she was a mean witch.
Hi, we're going to be sisters now. This is my pet mouse. His name is Bandit. Take your rat and get out!
She loved being the center of attention and didn't want anything to change. So, she told our classmates all sorts of nasty lies about me.
Mom and Dad adopted Caroline out of pity. She's such a weirdo. She eats worms and sleeps upside down like a bat. I saw it myself.
Nonsense! The most annoying thing was that everyone believed that liar and started avoiding me. Violetta tried to order me around and turned my life into a living hell at home too. One day, she even spilled black paint on Mom's dresses and blamed it on me.
Caroline did it! She's nuts!
However, I was not punished. Violetta looked like she was about to go ballistic. Our parents always said that they loved us equally and wanted us to express ourselves freely. I loved them, but still felt like a stranger in their house sometimes. My peers also thought I was weird, so my best friends were Books and Bandit the Mouse. I was actually quite soft and creative, but wore black clothes to hide it so that no one could hurt me. One day, as I was coming home, I saw Violetta and her minions ahead of me. Ugh, I didn't want to listen to their dumb jokes again. So, I turned into a quiet street. I was passing by a cinema when I saw a cool poster about a movie marathon of old Kevin Cripp's horror films that was about to start. Wow! He hadn't released any new films in a while, but still had a lot of fans and was called the King of Horror Movies. I knew all his black and white films by heart. I even wrote him letters, telling him how much I admired his works. So, I decided to go to the cinema. However, it turned out you could only come in if you were invited. Hey, that's not fair. I didn't manage to sneak past the security guard. Instead, I found an open window leading to the bathroom and got in through it. Yay! Look, Bandit, it's my favorite scene. After the marathon, I went home and suddenly realized I was being followed. Some creepy thug that looked like Frankenstein's monster was chasing me. Can you imagine? I started to walk faster, and so did he. I turned around the corner, and he did too. I decided that the guy was chasing me because I had come to the cinema without being invited. So, I started to run away. I had never run so fast before. Luckily, I managed to break away from him. Phew! At home, I saw the worried faces of my parents and immediately realized something was wrong. Honey, take a seat. We need to have a serious conversation. I walked into the living room and was stunned. That thug was waiting for me there. I thought I was in big trouble, but my parents suddenly hugged me and said they had great news. Darling, it turns out that you have a grandfather, and he has been looking for you for a while. Excuse me? Did I hear that right? It turned out that guy was working for my grandfather. He must have thought I was nuts when I started running away from him. But the coolest thing was, my grandfather was, drumroll please, Kevin Cript, my favorite movie director. He invited me to his mansion so that we could get to know each other. Wow, that was nuts! I jumped for joy, but Violetta frowned. So the psycho has a famous relative, huh? I want to meet him too! I was born to be an actress! My parents smiled awkwardly and asked me to take my sister with me. Damn it, Violetta could turn any holiday into a nightmare! Still, I agreed because Mom and Dad asked me to. Violetta would have started the waterworks otherwise. Caroline, don't forget to call us! We will miss you! A few days after that, we packed our bags and headed to Kevin Cripp's mansion. We had to go to a secluded island. It was so cool! A gloomy castle and a family cemetery, all covered in fog. Wow, Bandit and I were over the moon. However, Violetta was shaking with fear. It's like I'm in a horror movie. It served her right. Mr. Frankenstein walked us to the gates, where an extremely cute guy and Kevin Cript himself met us. It was my grandpa. Caroline, my dear, I'm so glad to finally meet you. We hugged, and I felt like I'd come home. I liked everything about that place. That handsome guy's name was Peter. He was Mr. Frankenstein's son and Grandpa's right hand. Peter showed Violetta and me to our room. "Come down to have dinner in an hour, girls." Before he left, he gallantly kissed my hand. Aww, I felt like a gothic princess. But Violetta clearly fell out of place because for once, she wasn't the center of attention. At dinner, we talked a lot about poetry and my grandfather's works. My sister was clearly bored and kept yawning. "Can we talk about me already? I want to become an actress. You have connections in the film industry, right?" Nobody listened to her, so she gritted her teeth and stormed back to our room. "I'll call Mom and Dad and tell them you were mean to me." Geez, she was insufferable. After dinner, Grandpa and I sat down by the fireplace, and I asked him about my biological parents. After all, I grew up in an orphanage and didn't know anything about them. "I did not approve of my daughter's boyfriend. We had a fight, and she broke all contact with me. I didn't even know I had a granddaughter. When your parents died in an accident, you ended up in an orphanage. I only found out about it a few years later and started looking for you, but by that time, you had already been adopted and given a different surname. That's why it was hard for me to find you." It turned out that it was Peter who had helped Grandpa find me by using social media. Wow. When it got dark, Peter and I went for a walk around the family cemetery, and I thanked him for helping me reunite with my family. "Mr. Crypt has always been kind to me and my father, so I'm glad I did something good for him before he suddenly stopped talking and quickly changed the subject. It seemed he was hiding something. But then, Peter looked me in the eye and said I was very beautiful. Oh, I got butterflies in my stomach and forgot about everything else. I didn't even call my parents despite my promise. Before going to bed, I looked into my grandfather's study. There were posters of his films and photos from all sorts of movie sets hanging on the walls. Wow, I got goosebumps. It was so awesome. Then, my eyes fell on a dusty paper folder. It was a script of a movie called Spirits of the Cursed Island. I don't remember watching that. Grandpa sighed and said that it was because he had never filmed that movie. "I started writing the script at your age, but I still haven't come up with an ending for it." Wow! He let me read the script, and I couldn't put it down. It was so interesting. We discussed the plot late into the night and managed to come up with an amazing ending for the movie. "You've got a gift, Caroline." I couldn't fall asleep for a long time, and in the morning, I found out some incredible news. At breakfast, Grandpa announced that he wanted to return to the director's chair and film a new movie. "It's all thanks to Caroline. She inspired me to start creating again." Wow! Everyone was ecstatic and began to prepare for filming. Violetta and I were supposed to go back home, but we asked our parents for permission to stay on the island for a little longer. "Oh, I'm not sure. We really miss you girls. Oh, all right. You can stay." "Thank you, Mom." Soon, we were almost ready to start filming. All that was left to do was find a lead actress. Guess who volunteered? Yeah, my sister. I was born to be a star. However, Grandpa quickly brought her back down to earth. "You are, of course, a very nice girl. But Caroline is more suited for this role." "What? Me? Wow! Of course I agreed." We started shooting. Don't worry, we found a job for Violetta too. Scene 1, take 1. I was beyond happy. After all, I was making a movie with my idol. Even Bandit got a small role. He looked very cute dressed as a living hand. I chatted with Peter whenever I had some free time. We liked each other and had a lot in common. "I'm so glad you're here. Mr. Crypt looks 10 years younger now. Before you came, he was… well, it doesn't matter. Let's go get some juice." I was sure he was hiding something, but I didn't have any time to think about it because we were too busy filming the movie. I reread the script and constantly talked to my grandfather. I even forgot to call my parents. Soon, something strange started to happen. We were filming a scene at the cemetery. I was supposed to run away from a ghost and hide from it in a crypt. My heart was pounding. I loved acting. But then, my heel suddenly broke off, and I fell. "All right, cut. This isn't in the script. What happened?" I looked at my shoes and realized that someone had cut the heel off on purpose. The problems didn't stop there. Later, I went to my trailer to have lunch, and someone locked me in it. "Hey, let me out!" Damn it. The worst thing was that I didn't have my phone with me. I had to climb out of the window and almost got stuck. Since I was late, the filming was delayed and everyone was mad at me, especially my grandfather who wanted everything to be perfect. I didn't make any excuses and simply promised that it would not happen again. However, the very next day, things got even worse. Journalists suddenly started calling Grandpa and asking him about the upcoming movie, which was supposed to stay secret. Grandpa was very upset because he didn't want the audience to know any spoilers. Soon, someone started posting photos from the set on social media. For some reason, whoever posted those photos claimed that it was the lead actress who was leaking pictures to the journalists. Can you imagine? That's a lie. I would never do that. Grandpa was worried and started taking pills. So, I decided it was time to figure out who was trying to frame me. I was sure that Violetta was taking revenge on me. I knew how much she wanted to be an actress. Ugh, that witch! But of course, she denied everything. I was a bad sister and envied you. To be honest, when Mom and Dad adopted you, I was afraid that they would stop loving me. So, I tried my best to prove that I was better than you at everything. But I would never do anything that mean. Weirdly enough, she seemed to be telling the truth. I never really thought that she could miss her parents too. My sister and I only noticed our differences and didn't try to find anything we had in common. That was a mistake. Okay, I believe you. But who is trying to disrupt the shooting then? Violetta thought about it and said that she found out something interesting. She talked to everyone who lived in the mansion and found out that Peter used to be my grandfather's closest friend. My grandpa had apparently treated Peter like he was his grandson. There are rumors that Mr. Crypt was even going to leave everything to Peter. But then, you came and became your grandpa's favorite. So Peter didn't want you to get along. Holy crud! I didn't want to believe it. But the bitter truth was better than sweet lies. So, my sister and I decided to have a serious talk with Peter. What the hell have you been up to? Girls, what are you talking about? I would never do anything to harm Mr. Crypt. Yeah, right. We don't believe you. Peter looked down guiltily and said that he was ready to tell us the truth. And it was devastating. It turned out that Kevin Crypt was often sick lately. The doctors promised that he would recover if he stayed positive. However, Grandpa hadn't been happy in a while. So, Peter decided to help the old man reunite with his granddaughter. He read the most interesting letters from his fans to the director. I knew all of Crypt's movies by heart, looked like him, and liked the gothic aesthetic as much as he did. I found your social media and realized that you were the same age as the missing granddaughter of Mr. Crypt and also grew up in an orphanage. That's why I convinced him that you were her. Mr. Crypt was so happy that he easily believed it and sent my father to find you and bring you to the mansion. I know what I did was wrong, but I did it to save him. Mr. Crypt is like a grandfather to me. I really wanted him to get better. I didn't leak the pictures to the journalists. Tears stung my eyes. I was gutted. Everything I believed in turned out to be a lie. But I wasn't mad at Peter. Even though he deceived Mr. Crypt and me, his intentions were noble. Until someone started to disrupt the shooting, my grandpa had been getting better. He would be terribly upset if he found out that I wasn't really his granddaughter. So, I decided to leave without explaining anything. That same day, I asked my parents to pick up Violetta and me. To my surprise, Mom and Dad arrived on the remote island very quickly. Girls, we missed you so much! What happened really got to me. Still, knowing the truth was better than lying to myself and living in an illusion. Something good came out of the trip. Violetta and I finally found a common language. Our parents noticed it too.
Are you finally acting like sisters? We were worried you would suspect Violetta and you would turn on each other.
I was about to tell them the truth, but then it hit me. How did they know about all the nasty things that had been happening on set? That was fishy. Are you hiding something from us? Mom and Dad looked at each other and confessed that they had tried to drive a wedge between me and Mr. Crypt. What? They were bananas! You spent so much time with him that you even stopped calling us. We were afraid that you would become famous and forget all about us. So they had been secretly following us around on the island? Now it was clear why they managed to arrive so quickly. At first, I was fuming in anger. How could they do that? But I liked that they were so afraid of losing me. So I forgave my parents. You have always been so kind and understanding. I would never forget you. We all hugged and then someone rang the doorbell. It was Mr. Crypt and Peter.
Sorry to bother you. Peter told me the truth. It's a shame that you are not my real granddaughter, Caroline, but you're still my soulmate. You're very talented and remind me of my youth. Let's make this movie anyway.
I could only squeal with happiness. Of course I agreed. Except this time, I was the director, and my annoying but beautiful sister became the lead actress. She and Bandit made a great team. I think I found my calling, and I also think I'll give Peter another chance. Have your friends ever thought you were a weirdo?